Jeff Bezos, founder and CEO of Amazon, was for a long time the richest man in the world. I have studied Jeff Bezos for years, looking at all the habits, the tactics, the strategies, specifically in regards to focus. And let me tell you something, this is all I do. I study the top entrepreneurs like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, even people of the old times like Rockefeller, Carnegie, and I take their habits, their strategies, their tactics. When it comes to focus, I distill them down to systems, and I help entrepreneurs install these systems so that they can scale their businesses faster. I've personally consulted with over 100 plus entrepreneurs. My company at this point has helped even more. What I'm going to tell you is everything that I know in terms of the macro, the tactical on how Jeff Bezos focuses. Starting off with point number one, structuring your time. So a very interesting thing, when Jeff Bezos was starting off with Amazon, he is reported to have woken up at 5 a.m. every single day to read and to think. And the reason why he did that was because Amazon, according to him, was so fast moving, it was so chaotic, he needed to pull back, especially in the morning, to reflect on where the vision of Amazon was going. And here's the thing, most entrepreneurs, they wake up, and I would say this is a problem that I struggle with as well. I wake up, I'm constantly pulled around by my team. There's fires that you need to put out in the business. And that's a problem when you're working in your business instead of on it. But when you wake up early, you have at least 4 to 5 hours of just uninterrupted time where you can just focus on the vision of the business and the constraint of the business. And a lot of times, it's those 4 to 5 hours that actually move the business forward. The rest of the workday is just spent in maintenance, putting out all the fires, managing the team, communicating with your business partners, until eventually you delegate all that stuff out. All the fires and stuff, they're taken off your plate and you can only focus on the constraint of the business. That becomes your full-time job. And that's why now, Jeff Bezos doesn't wake up at 5 a.m. now. But the reason why he used to is because when he was in these tasks, and a lot of us entrepreneurs are still working in our businesses to some degree, we still have to manage things. We need that uninterrupted time in the morning so that we can actually focus on the constraint of the business. Another thing when it came to structuring time that Jeff Bezos did is Jeff Bezos reserved mornings for what he referred to as high IQ tasks. And again, what this translates to, again, every entrepreneur has their unique language. A high IQ task for Jeff Bezos are the problems that you need to solve in your business, the things that I mentioned before, the things that will unlock the highest amount of leverage for your business, like the next greatest step, like what's going to unlock the next level of scale in your business. That question itself and the answer to that question requires a lot more thinking. Ultimately, as a business owner, that's what your job is to do, is recognize what the biggest problem is in your business and what the greatest opportunity within your business is so you can pursue it. And meetings, a lot of times, are just fires or they're protocol, right? They're just policy. And according to Bezos, morning meetings especially are low IQ tasks because they don't unlock leverage for your business. Again, what Jeff Bezos did is he picked his toughest task. And between that time in the morning and even after, between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m., after that 5 a.m. wake up time, he just worked on the biggest constraint of the business. And that meant no meetings with anybody in that time. The toughest problem to solve in your business is the one that's going to unlock the highest level of scale. And most entrepreneurs just spend all of their time avoiding the toughest problem to solve, being pulled around by their team, because frankly, it's just easier to do. It's easy to have something blocked out on your calendar. You got the accountability of people showing up to that meeting. And so you just sit there, they ask you questions and you yell at them a little and you're like, oh, wait a minute, this isn't what we're supposed to be doing. Let's correct course. And then at the end of the day, you feel fulfilled because you sat in so many meetings. But when you look at your actual KPI, the actual thing that's governing or deciding whether or not you're a successful entrepreneur, which is your profit or your revenue, those two KPIs, those two metrics aren't growing. You're not making any more money. And that's because you're picking the comfortable thing, the low IQ task, instead of picking the toughest task, which requires you to fail again and again to solve. Another way that Jeff Bezos structured his time, which is very interesting, is he capped his meetings to 2 pizzas. So Bezos actually limited attendees to whatever 2 pizzas could feed. So what that basically translated to in Amazon is cutting the list of whoever is attending a meeting to 6 people max. The reason why Jeff Bezos did this is because a lot of times when you're having a meeting, half the people in the meeting don't even need to be there. 90% of meetings that I've personally seen in my company, or the meetings that we used to have, could just have been looms. There was one person presenting some data or something like that. Like, could have been a text, could have been an email, could have been like a short video that you could have sent to people, and I could have 2x'd it. But entrepreneurs are having these meetings, and you know what the sad thing is? A lot of times these meetings are recurring. Elon Musk says the same thing. He says he hates meetings. In a leaked email that he sent to Tesla employees, he said, if you feel like you are not contributing to a meeting, get up and leave. That's the culture at Tesla, because all the meetings that you have, especially the recurring ones, the weekly meeting, the quarterly meeting, the annual meeting, those cost you money. And if you actually want to put a number to it, if you want to quantify the amount of money you actually lose when you have a meeting, take every single person who's in the meeting, calculate their hourly wage, even if it's you, put your yearly income or your profit or your dividends, whatever you make personally, put it into ChatGPT, tell it, hey, this is how much I work, what's my hourly wage? And so if you have, let's say, $1,000 an hour price point that you value your time at, that means every single hour that you sit in a meeting, you are wasting $1,000. If you're not solving a problem that's worth at least more than $1,000, then there's no point in sitting in that meeting. And usually if there's more people in a meeting than 2 pizzas can feed, again, going back to Bezos's point, then most of the people in the meeting aren't even meant to be there. You might as well just get a fireplace, get a nice, beautiful fireplace, and just fucking start throwing money in there, because that's what meetings essentially are. It's burning money. And again, this is something that all of the greats have in common. Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, all of them ensure to the highest degree that their meetings are, number one, as minimal as possible, and number two, if they do have to have meetings, they're limited to a very specific agenda. Steve Jobs, for example, made sure that if his meetings didn't have a 1 sentence or a 2-3 sentence memo, he wouldn't attend the meeting. So they make sure that the meetings that they actually have are actually high leverage and aren't just fireplaces to burn money. And if you are an entrepreneur that wants to focus on both the micro and the macro, my company is actually hosting the free 6-week focus challenge. There is no cost to entrepreneurs that qualify. We're going to give you one-on-one accountability, and we're going to install systems for prioritization, elimination, and accountability into your work cycle so you can scale your business as fast as possible and focus like the 1%. The only catch is we have limited spots available. The reason why we're doing this is we want more people to sign up for the core service that we offer. So if you feel like you would benefit from this, whether you work too much, work too little, no matter what point you're at in the business life cycle, if you're starting out, if you're already scaling, or even if you're exiting your business, click on the link below, sign up and reserve your spot for the free 6-week focus challenge. And we'll send you more information about how everything works. You can decide if it's a good fit for you and we can move forward. Now back to Jeff Bezos. Second main point is obsessing over customer impact. So now we're zooming out, right? We're looking at the macro focus side of things. All the other things were micro focus, waking up in the morning, banning morning meetings, and capping the actual amount of people that are in a meeting. Now we're talking about how you focus on the greater scale in the bigger picture. So Jeff Bezos has a very famous quote. He says that it will always be true that customers will keep wanting cheaper prices. So Jeff Bezos, the first thing that he did to obsess over customer impact was he singularized it. Again, all Bezos really focused on was the customer. In other words, it was the actual delivery. With Jeff Bezos, it was the literal delivery in terms of how fast he could get his product to his customers. And that's why Amazon Prime was such a hit. It's another quote by Jeff Bezos that people will always want faster shipping times. So he just picked a very fundamental principle, which is people will want cheaper things faster, and he fixated on them, and that was his vision. That was his focus on the macro level. A lot of entrepreneurs have shifting visions, right? They're trying to take their business in one place, then another place, and then a third place. Instead of doing that, if you, like Jeff Bezos, define a principle that never really changes about your customers, and you obsess over your product, your service, then you can build a great company like Amazon. First thing Jeff Bezos did to obsess over customer impact is actually defining his customer. So again, Jeff Bezos' customer was one that wanted cheaper prices and wanted faster shipping. A lot of entrepreneurs are serving two masters. They're serving two avatars. That again, definitionally splits your focus. Your company is like a car going on a freeway and there's two exits. Like, you have to take one of them. You can't just split the car in half and half the car goes, to one exit and half the car goes into the other. You need to ensure that you are only serving one customer so that your delivery, your systems, every single part of your business is made as efficient as possible to serve that one customer as well and as properly as possible. In order to do that, you need to, second thing, ruthlessly prioritize. So Bezos, what he did is he killed the Fire Phone to double down on Amazon Web Service. Now, if you actually want to obsess over customer impact, you need to prioritize ruthlessly. Very famous example of this is how Bezos killed the Fire Phone to double down on AWS. AWS makes Amazon so much money. It's literally a cash printing machine for Amazon. The Fire Phone was a new opportunity that Jeff Bezos looked at and cut down. He slashed it. He killed it as a product. Even though his company worked for so long on it, I'm sure he had a lot of people on payroll just to work on the Fire Phone. But Bezos understood that the actual customer that he was trying to serve with Amazon, of course, when you get to a certain size, you have to serve more than one customer because you're approaching like the pinnacle of your total addressable market, your TAM, that's what they call it. But even then, he ruthlessly prioritized, killed a bunch of products, including the Fire Phone, that his employees worked on, his engineers were working on for months at times to double down on what was actually working. And the principle when it comes to prioritization is elimination. If you have multiple businesses, shut down all of them except for the one that you think has the most amount of potential. If in that one business you have multiple services or multiple products, focus on scaling the advertising for one of them. Focus on the fulfillment for one of them. Because when you do that service or serve that product to the same customer so many times, you get so good at it that you don't need to do multiple things to actually get a reliable pipeline of customers. You can just do that one thing over and over again, and it becomes a cash printing machine for you, just like AWS is for Amazon. And the third sub point is testing and learning as fast as possible. So again, Bezos actually launched a lot of things very early. The Fire Phone itself was launched very early. Alexa was launched early, and they were launched shit. But again, this is all about the speed of execution. So Bezos, as a top tier entrepreneur, understands how important it is that your ideas and your execution, the delta in between them, is as minimized as possible. That is literally the definition of how powerful and how high the caliber of an entrepreneur is how fast they can execute. Bezos launched shit stuff at times to get feedback from his customers so that he could actually make stuff better. Instead of being a perfectionist behind the scenes and trying to be Sigmund Freud or Carl Jung or some psychologist without a degree and trying to anticipate what his customers or his market wanted. He actually just launched and then asked his customers what they hated about the product. And this is the same exact thing that happened with Amazon Prime. Bezos gave a green light to Prime after a very quick pilot, and Prime got better and better over time. It wasn't perfect when it started out. Third main point is sharpening your mind. And if you want to sharpen your mind, like Jeff Bezos, one of the things that he did is he actually read to make sure that he was reframing his vision for Amazon adequately. So Jeff Bezos particularly was a very big sci-fi fan. And I think Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, talks about this a lot. He says that if you're an entrepreneur that's operating at a high level, in order to balance the chaos, you need to have something that you do in the arts, something creative. The creativity balances the chaos. It allows you to consume the chaos better. For Jeff Bezos, that creativity was sparked with sci-fi. So being an entrepreneur doesn't mean neglecting your creative side. It doesn't mean neglecting what you love and what makes your brain function optimally. Another thing that he did is he walked, especially for Blue Origin, which is his space company. He used to take walks all the time after lunch, and in those walks, he used to focus on one main problem that he would try to solve. So again, removing yourself from the chaos, doing something unrelated, or doing nothing, which is what walking essentially is. Obviously, you're walking, but making sure that your mind isn't captivated by the chaos so that you can actually get the bigger picture on your company to solve a problem. Focusing on one problem so that you're not being pulled around by different problems. It's always hard to solve 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 problems at the same time. It's much easier to solve one. And the best way that Jeff Bezos sharpened his mind is by questioning everything. And this is one thing that I have seen with all great entrepreneurs, especially people like Elon Musk. Elon Musk started SpaceX after reading a book on astrophysics or something. How to Build a Rocket 101. Now, obviously, I'd like to have that book, but people told him, hey, you don't even have a degree. You're not that type of engineer. But he questioned why it wasn't possible. Even when it comes to having two companies, I strongly advise against this, but Elon Musk literally put half his money into SpaceX, half his money into Tesla. That's literally just dividing focus, but somehow, being the most successful man in the world, he did it. Now I feel as though Elon Musk is paying some tax on that decision because now he has to run the government in terms of Doge, and he has to run SpaceX, and he has to run Tesla. But again, he questioned the principles. Bezos always asked his team, why not? Why can't we do this? Just like all the other top entrepreneurs. Because most people in the world, like 99% of businesses don't even make $1 million a year. So when you reach a certain level, you can't rely on other people to break your beliefs. You just have to question everything. Why can't we launch a division that's related to web service and then take over that market? Why can't we launch a Netflix competitor with the example of Prime Video? Why can't you do all these things? And this just comes from having a questioning attitude at the core of your psyche. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the biggest tool that you can personally have to sharpen your mind as much as possible. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. If you liked the video, we're doing more of these. We're exploring the greatest entrepreneurs like Elon Musk. We already have a lot of videos on the channel, so you can check out the channel as well. Otherwise, if you got to this point, please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below on what things you personally would like to implement into your work cycle as an entrepreneur. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.